know that can't be helped. I know that, for example, I'm not going to say anything, but a lot of times, for example, the one that resigned yesterday, that's in the best need of his family. He's got a better situation for his family. So that happens. That happens. And so those are things, that we're going to see. And hopefully, it's not something that happened because of internally. We want to make sure those don't happen. Negative public perception. Yes. Board and leadership division. Elementary faculty facility issues. Okay. Respondents see the district struggling with staffing shortages, fractured leadership, community polarization, and we did experience some of that, but hopefully we can keep finding ways to bring that together. There's concern about the negative, the public negative being dominant by negativity, making recruitment harder, and that is, I'm going to be honest with you guys, that's happening. There are people that are saying that, oh, I'm not coming to Harvey, there's too much going on. So I've heard that from a couple people. James, you've heard that. So it's like, we need to somehow, I don't know.
It's not necessarily unique to Harvey, because this is.
Oh, I realize that.
Well, I know, but like, this is just kind of how things have become. It's, by and large, it's this. Like, let's just be bluntly honest, is that we in the last 3 years since I've been on this school board, we've talked about some controversial things where people have some pretty stark opinions that are different from each other. The problem is that instead of having dialogue, some, not all, but there's been a level in our community which has made me really disheartened because, I was born and raised here. This is my home, and I love the place, and I love a lot of the people here. It came to a point of, oh, you disagree with my point of view? You're now my enemy, and I'm going to send pejoratives your way on both sides of the aisle, which I thought was very unfortunate. I know even myself personally had been called a number of things, and luckily I had a twin brother growing up and we got called each other names all the time, so I have some pretty thick skin, but it's just, it's just.
We should be doing that as a
right,
community.
We're a community that, like, this is,
Agreed.
we're neighbors with each other. So, like, John Doe, who was my neighbor, or whatever, like, I've probably known you for the last 25 years of my life. It's like, and I'm just giving blanket examples, but that's been really tough. And like Mr. Anderson said, and like we all know, that's made it really hard for us to recruit. It's not signaling a good thing for this area and community. And what needs to happen, and this is a lot easier said than done, is that there has to be some actual dialogue and communication with people that doesn't end up resorting to that anymore. It's like, because that's not productive,
right.
Whatsoever. And we're at a point to where there's a lot of things in our area to where, and this is a lot of rural areas especially too. It's like we're gonna have difficult conversations, and
yeah, you're gonna have to.
They're not fun all the time, but they need to be done. And so that is I think probably most can agree that that's probably one of, if not the biggest problem facing us, is that we need to come together as a community again and have some dialogue and be able to communicate with each other productively.
Never will that happen.
Well, if you look at this here on the action takeaway of the rule, I like this number 3. We blame the public error by highlighting wins and district progress, and just quit fighting the negative and try to find the positives. And it's not going to be an easy task, but at least you got to try to find ways.
Keep promoting the positive things that we have, like with our staff.
I just wish that I think of some of our board meetings that, like, we got to get back to these teachers getting up front and telling their stories of what they're doing in their classrooms.
I love that.
I don't care if they take a half an hour. I think those are
well
worth my time.
I like those parts of this.
So I think we need to do that. And the rest is going to be a progress. We can sit here and talk till 8 o'clock at night and I'll solve the problem. We're going to bring that, but we just need to find ways to be positive. We need to find ways to do that. Show a unified board and clear vision, reveal interest and trust, and then add staff and crisis urgency and creativity. And I know that's it's hard because there's so many needs out there. I know we need an elementary teacher. Did we do the Zoom with one today?
Yeah.
Yes? So we did a Zoom, I don't know, like, can I say this? Can I say that we did a Zoom?
Oh, well, it'd be too late now.
It was,
thought they had one
were you involved?
No, it was at 4:30, but I know they did it. I was just telling you.
It was like 3 or 4 teachers and it was just a Zoom, to get to know this teacher without being intimidating, I think, right? It was from, I think she's from
Yeah,
Mayville.
I don't know, I'm not,
Mayville.
yeah, I'm not part of it.
So, graduating?
Yes,
Oh, good.
freshly graduated, and I think it was just a Zoom to, just to
I think just to feel
introduce
around,
her
but I
out,
don't
introduce
know if
herself,
I'm part of it,
and it
so,
wasn't meant to be you know what I mean?
like an interview.
Right, and then see if that was, so, there's
There's,
progress being made, so I don't know if that's what to say now, but.
Why not?
Yeah, okay, and I know
there
that,
wasn't any names mentioned.
I know that there was at least 3 teachers involved, and not 4, so.
Okay.
Oh, and I also know that the new principal was involved, Zoom too, the one in,
Oh, that's
I
a
knew
good
coming in
idea.
was involved too,
It's good.
on Zoom,
I think, that's a good.
okay? Well, those are things we have to keep working on, it's a positive thing, and we need to find ways to be positive and try to show these people that there are things we can offer you and hopefully, but, okay? Anything else you wanna add? Again, remember that, they talked about the survey, we're not done, we're gonna probably keep going and.
I like that idea that we keep bringing it back.
Keep bringing it back and seeing how we're doing on things.
You know, even if we do it like quarterly or something, just to see how. things
I like to
are
have it at
going.
the end of the year again, to see how we've done since we started this.
So you're gonna put out the same survey again, have the teachers, or just.
I think once a year we should do one, I mean, even just this year one, just to keep, keep
Give some
referring.
time here, see if we,
But yeah, they should probably have another survey sometime.
Yeah.
Next month, like.
at some point.
And almost identical, so you can kind of get.
Okay.
I mean, you can always add a little bit, but.
I do also think as a board, we should probably consider, I don't know the best way to do it, but some kind of exit interviews.
You know, I don't know what the thoughts are, so I know we've talked about that before, is if there's a committee or whatever, like this, scheduling a whole exit interview, like I've always wondered, like, what if you had kind of a set routine, like form of like, kind of almost like a survey or documents to where if somebody resigns and would like to give it, like, at least there's a mode for that feedback, and, instead of like, because I think if it's like the full board, then we gotta call a meeting and have this, and then it's public, and then it's,
I don't think it's ever been a full board.
or whatever it is.
I don't know what the procedure's been, but,
Even if you had a survey for them. to fill
Yeah.
out, or
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Something.
okay, so let's write that down, let's work on that.
Yeah, I don't think the full board.
Right, it's like if you had like a document that they could fill out and that's uniform, so anybody who resigns or whatever it might be, has the option to fill that out, and then it comes to us. And we get that data, info, et cetera.
Sometimes they do.
Who would be the committee to do that?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, who would take on the job of filling our, designing an exit interview survey?
I honestly don't know what this would be about.
I mean, kind of some of these
Survey.
questions,
The survey,
trying to think,
I mean,
I only sat in those one with Dan way back when, and I don't remember if he really had anything typed up, it was just, I only did one, so
Yeah.
it was nothing typed up at that time, and it was just,
You
just kind of talked and whatever, but yeah, I'm sure there's gotta be something out there, or whatever, so. But yeah, you could pick out, wouldn't have to be this long, but yeah, it could be some of those.
but which committee is in charge of that? I see what you're asking.
Like
Yeah, I think that's
Just create
leadership
one.
committee, leadership committee.
Well,
Do we have I don't know if we have like a personnel committee, we don't, right?
who does all the interviewing?
It'd either be a leadership or a policy.
My mind goes to that, and we've referenced it already, my mind goes to the leadership committee, is where my mind would navigate our standing committees.
Okay, well,
Or like you said, probably
I'm
policy
sure,
would be
a
second.
person could, I bet you a person could find some suggestions and then ask you know, what do they think about using a few of these or whatever, I would think it'd be something.
So let's find some.
You don't want it to be
Let's find some suggestions.
20
okay?
questions, but yeah.
Let's find some suggestions, and then we'll work on that.
Yeah, I think a simple survey would,
Okay, let's find some.
otherwise, I mean,
Okay, anything else on number 7? Okay, and then number 8, what are the areas of improvement? What are the areas of improvement to seek? Staffing is critical, and I think we've talked about that. We're gonna try our best. Update curriculum and tech, okay, fix the elementary building, and I think right now our biggest need is get this boiler problem solved. Have you guys had a chance to meet yet?
No, we haven't gotten any necessary info back yet.
Okay, have you both been aware of the situation with the cooling for our servers?
For the
cooling
servers?
for the servers? No.
No.
The fan keeps busting out and the servers are getting too warm, they're not keeping cool. And so what's happening, and this is a reason, because I was in the office, I was teaching yesterday, and Tim came and that's okay, that I don't mind being accessible with him. And he just explained what was going on, so, the circuit keeps breaking. The circuit keeps breaking, and so, and of course, there's a board that fixes, and I don't know this technological stuff, but there's a board that would, and it's of course outdated and old and not usable. And so Elijah is looking at a couple costs to try to fix that. So that's gonna come probably at our April meeting, and something's probably gonna have to happen. Elijah told me when he came out to fix my thing, that he said, he told me what was going on. He said he thought it'd be 1,000, but you know, and him yesterday said probably more like 4. So
We wouldn't have a choice.
we don't have a choice. And just so you're aware of that,
We can't let our
you guys probably
servers
haven't
burn
heard this yet. I just heard it yesterday, and so there's always something, isn't there? With
Keller.
Keller.
When you work for Jerry, Elijah,
Yeah.
is that you?
Right, I automatically went to, Dustin, because it's electrical, but
Because we lost a business that does a lot of this, he sold his business, so.
you mean Shelley?
Shelley sold his business, he's out, he's gone.
Right, but I was thinking of Dustin with the electrical, because if it's a break-in,
It has nothing to do with that. Yeah, I don't know, it could have been both, but I think it was more involved with I'm not sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whoever,
I'm not
but
sure.
yeah.
But I
mean,
know, all I can tell you is, Tim calls Elijah to get quicker results, so that's why he does that, okay? All right.
Well, and that's something.
Anyway,
We have no choice, yeah.
Prioritize faculty modernization and safe functioning learning environment, so our goal right now, I'll say it, we've said it at the last 3 meetings, is to get the top of this boiler issue correct, we all agree with that?
Yep, once we get the
numbers,
necessary
We
information.
got it, and then we might have to have a community meeting, explain what's going on, if
And I know
big
it's, I don't
numbers.
think it's fixed yet down there yet, I mean, it's still.
What did he tell me?
Oh, is it almost done?
No, it's not quite there yet, no, and he's just worried that everything's gonna, because they had to find a new box, so he's worried that everything's gonna hook together.
Right, I know.
Which one, the grade school or the high school?
Grade school, high school, still, they're still working on that too.
That sounds like the easier fix.
Yeah, that was a gearbox too, but I don't think that's a serious thing, you just gotta manually take the ashes out, so.
Right.
Okay,
I think the last bill that Zane got, well, what was it? Was it a little over $21,000?
Oh, yeah, it was,
Yeah, no, that's,
okay, and then we got promote transparency and consistency through clear communications and fair treatment, and I think we need to keep working on that, and I take all this seriously. I don't think we just talk for an hour and 15 minutes and gonna forget about it. I think there's things that we need to talk about. Before I move on, does anybody want to add anything? Anybody wanna add anything about this survey?
I just want to say again that I just think it's to let everybody know that this is going to be a working document and.
Okay, and everybody agrees it's a working document, we'll review it in a couple months and see what we can do and try to be open to everybody. Okay, all right, so we're gonna move then to the superintendent. This is just, you know me, I'm a teacher, and so this is just my thoughts, it doesn't mean, I just got to talk, we have a course to follow here.
Oh, go ahead, I'm gonna.
Yeah, we'll take a break, if you wanna recess. Yeah, quick recess. Yeah, so
I went to bed earlier last night.
Did I just tell you my ones that I wrote on?
Mine's
No,
not,
never mind.
mine isn't written on.
Here. I don't want my, I don't want you to see my notes.
Do we have any applicants?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that when Vanessa's back.
I went back and found some, give you guys, I went back and I found like our schedule that we did, like for tours and things that day. I found some of the questions that we used or whatever, so if you, I mean, to give us some more suggestions again, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel.
Well, I was just gonna say, as far as some of
You
the
could keep
questions,
all of those.
some of the questions go, I don't, since doing this 2 years ago, I don't really know what, if we'd alter much.
Right, yeah, yeah, that's why I went back and got copies. I think one of them might even be back from when Mitch was. Here was another one that I found, and I think that might, because one was from School Board Association, the other one's from Dr. Johnson, and then the one that had our names by him, that first one, that was, the one that I think that we actually used when we hired Dr. Lucas. I just thought maybe you'd all would like to see.
Okay.
I just thought, well, it can't hurt for us to look at it or whatever.
We'll just, it doesn't necessarily have to be in order, but I just put this on here so we can have a little bit of, structure, but we're gonna
I
talk
just went
about.
back and dug out some of the questions that we used in the past and the schedule and different things, I thought, to help us to come up with questions and stuff again, so I don't know if it helps or not, but I just went back through my emails and I found it anyway, so.
Okay, so let's start with this. First of all, I guess I'm just assuming we have to talk about this formally. Last time when we hired Dr. Lucas, we hired, what was his name, Dr. Johnson? And when you hired Mr. Strand, you, used the School Board Association. And then I think when they hired, Mr. Stubley, and I think they used another organization. So I'm of the belief that we should try to do this ourselves. That we do not need to spend $10,000 to $20,000. However,
Well, we kind of already started.
please keep in mind that we can't use Be Legendary if we need to for suggestions. They're not gonna cost us anything, but I think as of now, we should just do this ourselves. And
He said if we have questions
Yeah.
about things, you know, they.
is everybody in agreement with that?
I wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Vanessa? Okay.
Absolutely.
So we're all on the same, I'm sorry, I just assumed that's what we were doing, I didn't really, you know what
I
happened?
guess I figured too, since we didn't talk about it that meeting,
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna start with this. Zane, do you wanna tell them how many applications? I have not looked at them, none of us have looked at them. Zane has just printed them off. Zane, can you tell us how many applicants we have at this point?
7.
Okay. There are 7 applicants to this point, okay? And so, my thought is, and this is, you talk about this, so I got how to select a candidate from the application closed. And remember now, we had this discussion with Dr. Jones that you can't take those applications out, you can't make them public, they have to be. So my thought is that we're gonna set a date, you find yourself a 45-minute time, you come in on your own, you read them, you rank them. And then we all do that, and then you give them to Zane, and then he comes up with a ranking, he calls me in, I number them out, and then we call back here and say, this is our ranking, we think these are our top 3 or 4 candidates.
And then
What do you think of that idea? I think, because we gotta be careful about, and that way you get a chance to look at the application yourself, you get a chance to sit and do that, but you're gonna have to find an hour time so to come in here and do that.
And then we would proceed to the interview phase.
It'll proceed to the interview phase.
Selection phase.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
Selection phase, and you know what,
Yeah,
we
we
say,
get together to select.
we may not like any vote. Okay, and that's okay, because we don't know, okay, but that is my suggestion, because we can't take applications out of the
And then
office.
what we did with Mitch, we started like that, we kind of said, we had a number, I don't remember how many we had, so we had probably about the same or something, and we took the top 4 or 5 or whatever, and we didn't say nothing to the other ones.
Right.
Because after we got to 1 or 2, we were like, ooh,
Yeah, right.
no way. So then we called and added another 1 or 2, you know, so that at least at the end, we had, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 that we could
I don't
deliberate.
I don't think we were initially
but I know we added some then and things, because that's why you don't say any names, and I think when Dr. Johnson did it, he did like an applicant 1, 2, you know, whatever, when we talked about it, and then once you two come up with whichever ones rank the highest, we can start with them. We're not saying that we're getting rid of all of them, just start with the ones that we think are
Okay,
ranked
so,
higher.
I think that's
what do you guys think of that idea? Are you good with that idea?
Yep.
Okay, so here's what I want then. Let's set a date where, so we're still getting them in, so let's set a date, I don't wanna give you a 2-week window, I wanna give you a 2-3 day window to come in and look at them, so maybe like next Wednesday to next Friday or something, by Wednesday, and by next Friday you come in and give it a couple more days to see if any more come in, because I think you still, don't you have a couple people that still have asked you about where?
Yeah, so a lady asked me how to apply, and I
Yeah.
emailed her, and I haven't gotten the application yet, so I figured she would apply, but that's been 2 days, so maybe she
Okay.
like looked at it and didn't want to, but I could get one at any moment.
So what do you guys think of?
We can't wait too long.
Yeah, I know.
I think next week, so how long ago did we open this?
We advertised the day that we got we advertised
Friday.
it 2 hours after we got
Wasn't it,
and
wasn't
then
it,
Friday.
remember this past week, was 1 week or 2 weeks?
It's
I think
been,
it was the 9th,
The 2 weeks ago Friday, was it 2 weeks ago Friday?
at least,
I think it was, it would have been like that last Friday or the Friday before.
Yeah, because I left,
it was the 14th, I think.
Yeah, you guys are both gone, but
yeah, we left the next.
Yeah,
We were sick.
it was the 14th,
yeah, that's what it is.
so it's been a week and a half, already. Well, it'll,
So it'll be 2 weeks on Friday,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and that's like the absolute minimum we want, so I think you're reasonable to say next.
next week, like Wednesday, you guys come in by Wednesday and look them over?
Yeah, that's doable.
Try to do Wednesday?
I'm gonna be on Thursday and Friday, so I'll
Well,
look
you
at
can do
it.
yours Wednesday.
I'll do mine Wednesday at the latest.
Everybody try to do it by Wednesday of next week.
By Wednesday next week?
Yeah.
That's,
And that is,
Oh, how about by Friday of next week? How about by Friday, because you're gonna be gone anyway. How about by Friday of next week, you come in and do the applications?
that would be the 4th, would be great.
Okay, by Friday of next week, you come in and read the applications. On your own, you can't take them with you. You understand the confidentiality of that. Okay, we solved that one, we good with that? Okay, now my next question is, us three have only done one interview, and Dr. Jones pretty much ran that one, so we all got to ask a question. You two have been involved in a couple, you were there once too, right? It was just
I wasn't either.
okay, so, why I'm saying it different is that I know when you did strands, you had community members that sat on your panel with you.
I would like to go back to more of the way we did strands.
Okay, so-
More of a community.
Explain that to us.
I just don't know if I want 2 from everybody picked 2, it just seemed to be, because we had like 18 or 20 of us sitting there, you know, or whatever. We all each got to pick 2 community members. Yeah, we each had 2.
I think one would probably.
That's what I was thinking. I don't mind doing it, but I think 1 would, because it got to be a lot, because it was so hard
Cause I
to
suppose you
try
got-
to schedule for the interviews, you have that many people, this one couldn't make it, and that one couldn't make it, and it was hard, because I know I was working with Alexis that time, because since I was here, oh man, I must call people on how many times, and find, you know, because we all had 2, and then plus we had, you know, the principal sat on there, and a business manager sat on there, I think we had like 18 of.
I think Kelly needs to sit on there too, though. I think he.
Well, right, but I mean, but everybody.
I think he needs to sit on there regardless, but.
But I mean, the way we organized it, where we had that opportunity when the teachers could talk to them.
That's why I gave you a copy of this, I thought we could look at that then too when we're done.
Cause didn't we have, like, the last time we did it, didn't like the teachers kind of do an interview and then we did our,
I think she's talking more about, I think with the way they did it before, was that all teachers, this one was like just a select, I think all teachers had a chance to ask questions on that one.
Right, so when we did Lucan's, there was a couple teachers
Yeah.
that were able to go in. But
oh,
when we did it for Mitch, we had it after school so that anybody wanted to.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah, when I was looking at this one, I thought, well,
Okay, and
Yeah, let's
okay,
do this.
let's back up a second, let's go back to the,
So you're trying to determine the interview
committee.
first.
So you're saying, let's get this first, so you're saying, Vanessa, you think we should have at least one, if not two,
I wouldn't mind if we each pick one.
each pick one, is that what we're saying?
What do you guys think?
And we have 10 people, and I also think, I would like to have Kelly, I'm not too.
Well, no, but it would be,
And then
it would be,
their
Zane
job
would
then-
be, and Kelly would be, so that's already gonna be 12.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not.
So, and their job would be, maybe ask a question and then give us input, but they don't vote on,
Right, only.
they don't vote on who we hire.
Right, only the 5 of us vote.
Vote, but they can give us input on who they think.
Yeah, yeah.
See, and that's how we,
Okay.
that's
That's
how we,
good, this instructional staff.
that's how we did it with, when we did have, when we hired Fish, like we said, we can just move these down so they're after school, but we did that. And that night, before we made our final decision, we did, I think a representative, I think the hourly people were all together, they had one representative that stood up and said who and why. So they gave us this. We even had students give us who and why, because they had their time. And then teachers, I don't remember when they had each building, or did they, I can't remember if they just had one or if they had 2 people, I don't remember. But they stood up and said who they wanted and why. And then, of course, then we had panel and everybody, so everybody, and we, you know, they didn't get as much this time, but that time they got to say, yes, they don't vote, but they got to tell us. And we ended up being,
There was also a slot for community members to talk.
right, yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing that each board's gonna pick one member.
Okay,
Are
I'm
we
okay with
okay with that? Are we okay with that one, we just need one? 2 sounds like maybe a little bit congestion, but 1? Okay, now my question is there a requirement on the 1, is that be my voting district, or can I pick anyone?
We did.
Whoever, it's your.
Pick
It
whatever?
did make a difference, yeah.
And someone who.
So are we gonna communicate with each other on who we're picking, so that we don't,
I think we kind of did when we got together, then it was like, because then we got to say, I'm sure we'll have to meet, you know, how many more times or whatever, and we did. I know we all had to tell who we had picked, so that way we kind of knew, so that way if somebody still had one left to go, then they knew or whatever, so.
Working at that a lot, but.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but I mean, we certainly.
you never know. I can see Spencer, I don't know, you think I like it.
I'll fight you on it then.
Okay, all right, and we don't need to put this in a motion or anything, because there's no meeting here, but everybody agrees then, we're going to each pick one. So I guess I would say, start thinking of your person and ask them ASAP.
Well, maybe when the, hey, you want us to look at the applications by here, then you two are going to rank them.
Right.
Then so I think that's when we should all get together and meet, so that we can find out who they are, and if we're gonna do 3 or 4 or whatever. Maybe by that time, because that wouldn't be till probably a week after that, maybe then we can meet and then we can
Set the date.
have know who our
It
people
would
are.
be certainly nice if we could start
Yeah.
interviewing in April.
Yeah, I know, yeah, I
Oh,
will need to
yeah,
start.
yeah.
Without a doubt. Okay, so, again, try to think orderly here, so we're all comfortable then that, what's step 2? Okay, let's go to step 3 then, and we can talk
Right,
about the
so-
schedule.
Okay, so one more time, the interview committee, the people that sit in on the board interview is going to be the 5 of us,
And we're each gonna pick one,
and Zane,
and Zane and Kelly,
and Kelly.
12
Okay.
of them, 12. Everybody comfortable with that? James, comfortable with that? Okay? Okay? All right, now let's talk about, collect on a copy of this, and you don't have a copy of the one you did with Stan, no?
It was a whole day. I mean,
It doesn't have to
and
be a whole
again, I
day.
did say it was a bit much. I mean, they came at like 9 or 10 in the morning. They had, the first thing they did is that they had tours of each school, I mean, both schools. And then they did a tour around town. Oh, they met with community, they met with, you know, whatever. I know that night they all kind of said it was a little exhausting all day, so that's kind of why we went a little bit shorter. I don't mind using this except for, first of all, I think we can skip this administrative test. Dr. Johnson, he kind of administered his own test.
And we never really used them.
No, he kind of gave us, you know, whatever. I think if we would skip that, start at 2 o'clock with tour,
2 o'clock tour?
you know, maybe at 3 o'clock could be, how about 2 o'clock could be community? And then do at 3 o'clock do the community, then 4 o'clock do the staff, like you said, so that everybody can.
So if any community member could come in and listen to it, in that, if people actually
They
know.
get a chance to come in and they can talk,
If
you
you
know,
watch
they can
There
ask questions.
weren't as many people as I would anticipate, but I bet you this time around there'd be more.
So we're talking 3 o'clock community
So
discussion?
2 could be tour, 3 could be community, 4 would be staff, 5
o'clock board.
would be interview, and then we would have a meal after, and then we would come back, and, you know, I don't know what time that would be, 6 o'clock, 6:15.
Just take debrief after the,
Yeah, and then, yeah, debrief would be after the meal, yeah. And we did it after each one, so that way we didn't forget, and then we had the big debrief at the end, after we interviewed however many we did, like 3 or 4, whatever.
yeah, each one, then we just talked about highlights that we could.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
I
so
think that's-
2 o'clock
I
tours,
want all the staff. to be-
3 o'clock community, that would be at the library then too.
Yeah.
4 o'clock staff.
Yeah.
5 o'clock interview. And then after the interview, we'll have a meal, we'll talk about that later, where to go, and then, following the meal will be a debriefing.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, Vanessa, this is what you're thinking, this is kind of what you were, it's more like what you did for Mr. Strand, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what.
Because I think it was a better turnout when it's.
Did you have like, did you have a school board member in the association here helping you? Did you have someone come and help you do this?
Well, yeah, we kind of set it up with her, but yeah, she actually was here that day just to sit and to listen, like some of the questions of the staff, and I think even I'm not sure if Dr. Johnson sat in or not. But I know when we had them, she sat and listened, like when the community asked questions to her, she didn't say anything. She just introduced them, I think, and then after that, then she just listened to and then told us about some of the things that, here's what the community asked, here's what students asked, here's what staff asked, or, you know, or whatever, or something, it was kind of just that, but that's
Okay, and then do we have an idea who would give yours?
We had Jason Schneider last time, I mean, just because he's a happy-go-lucky, knows things when it comes to JDA questions or whatever, yeah, he is, I mean, I don't know, unless somebody else
I
has.
mean, a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, then he could, you know, they'd ask questions, he said sometimes, you know, about
Jason.
hospital or whatever.
Jason too was previous mayor.
Okay, or we can think about that if you think of anything else, we don't have to decide that tonight, but,
I just thought of something though, speaking of which, about the interview committee, what about Mike?
Every?
no, Mike Prom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's put him on it too, let's put him on
Yeah.
We can
it
make
too.
it 13.
What was one more? Ask him to be on the panel.
I mean, he's the only other end.
Yeah, let's put him on.
Yeah, that's
I'm
not,
okay with
that's not a bad idea.
I don't know if it would be, the new principal, if he could zoom in or whatever.
So it might be kind of hard to get away, because what if,
Yeah.
what if these are over like 3 or 4 different
Yeah,
things?
yeah, so
I know what you mean, but.
yeah, okay, all right. Anything else? Are we pretty comfortable with,
Are we
With that?
going to carve a time for students to have the opportunity, or?
yeah.
Maybe during the tour, kind of ish, just kids would still be
I don't
there.
think a tour will last.
I think Jason said he did it like in about 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, it's like maybe.
I mean, he
You
is
can,
kind
but
of
you
go
can
around
move
and
the chair, you
get
can move
a,
the chair up to 1:30 and then.
maybe the students, okay, we could do that
Have the
1:30,
students gathered at the gym.
and then maybe have them gather about,
And I don't know, would you have a whole student body or would you, how'd you do that last
I
time?
feel like we did a select.
Yeah, I don't think
Probably
you want the
a few
whole student
students from
body.
each grade or something.
Have the teachers or have them pick.
and it
four or
was,
five
and it
candidates in
was
each
just
class.
high school, I mean, it was just 7 to 12 students, we didn't have.
Right, we didn't have any help.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
You know, maybe it was like, I'm not sure how they did them, I wonder if they didn't.
I don't.
Work with the
We can make this proposal to Kelly and he can,
And we can
we
always
can
tweak
talk about
the
our
time.
staff, we can say we want a
Up until
representative.
we actually ask our candidates when to come,
Yeah.
we can still tweak the time a
A
little.
representative, we can talk to you about a representative. Yes, I don't want to find the whole student body, I think.
Yeah, that'd be too messy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anything else about the schedule, guys? Did I cover that pretty good? Okay, don't necessarily have to pick the interview questions today. I just thought that, should
Yeah,
give you
I
some
just, all the
examples.
examples that I could possibly find from the last 2 times, so.
Okay,
Well,
I
I'm
gave them all
gonna
to you.
review them, and if I can think of anything
And
that
so,
I want specific.
going back to what, Colette said, we'll probably have a meeting after Zane and I have ranked them, tell you who it is, she'll tell me who it is, and then we can sit down and pick our
Because I'm only gone like next week, Thursday, Friday, and the following Monday, and then I'm
Okay.
so I will be back.
So I guess everybody do their own research and questions, and then come up with that. Any other questions on that? Okay, and then I just put date here. I guess we probably don't know the date yet.
Not always select some candidates.
So let's wait, and then I'll set the date.
You, I would assume then you would be the one, you and Zane that would call.
I would probably have.
Maybe
Zane
what
say-
we could do is we could pick out 3 or 4 dates or whatever that work for all of us, so that when we talk to them, we gotta make sure that we're gonna be around. That's
Okay.
something we have to make sure we tell our candidate, are you gonna be available in April? Because,
Okay, and it'd be moved to set a date now, because we don't know where we're at. But we will, and I would echo Vanessa's feeling, ASAP. Okay, I put on your costs associated with the interview. If you remember last year, we did pay for a hotel room when they came in. We did, so if you expect somebody like, for example, Lucas drove all the way in, you expect them to be here till 7 o'clock at night, it's only fair that you
I
pay.
think that's totally acceptable.
Okay, so we will pay for a hotel room. We don't pay any cost though for driving, just pay for the hotel room. Correct?
yeah. that's-
Everybody in agreement with that? Okay,
About the superintendent search, I mean, not about the search exactly, but I just wanna throw this one out there once again. I know every time I say this, I'm told why we can't do it, but I think we need to think about sharing superintendents. And hear me out, there's 3 going down, or 4 going down Highway 52 that don't have a superintendent right now. Imagine the kind of salary we could offer and we could get somebody experienced. And if you're experienced and you know how to do this stuff, you can cover a lot more ground. If we each offered 60% of the salary we're thinking of offering, we should be able to pull in somebody really good. And I know, we already got this in process, so.
My only thing is that have you talked to some of them that have done 2 districts? I mean, even Steve High that has 2 districts that are close, you have to do 2 of absolutely everything, you know? So it's hard. You think how many policy meetings we have, you do 2 of them. You do 2 leadership committee meetings, you do 2 regular meetings a month. You're doing STARS reports, you're doing 2 of them, you know, so I'm just saying, it's hard. I'm not saying I'm against it, not against it in the future, I just don't,
But I
it's
know
so
we-
large right now, I just think it's really hard, because when I listen to that legislature and things too, to some of those when they were thinking about last time making them share, that one guy said he did it for a few years, he said he'd never do it again.
And it's possible we never get anybody that.
Right, you know, I'm not thinking it's
It sounds
something.
great.
Well, I think maybe if we find a great candidate, get kind of selected and put into place here, maybe I kind of always think of it this way, is that all the districts that border us are smaller than us, how about maybe they approach us about that perspective?
Oh, so if the 3 of us that are looking for superintendents, and one of us gets lucky and gets a good one, then.
I'm just saying that if,
I thought the one to the west was gonna be done, but he just, renewed his license for 5 more years, so I
Oh,
haven't.
he did?
Yeah, he wasn't going to, but
Wait,
Krista told me he did.
5 years?
I think that's how long it is for administrator. So, I don't know if he'll do it for 5 years, but he had to renew his license.
Oh,
Cause they thought they were gonna be done with them, and then he said, well, I don't know if I'll make 5, but I might do 1 or 2 or whatever, so I thought, sure.
and
I
I,
mean, good for them, wonderful for them, but I just thought, they were really worried about that, and then he wasn't gonna do it, but then he decided to renew it.
Well, I guess that maybe gives us time to find.
Yeah, true,
and
yeah.
I agree with what you're saying too, I'm a little, what's the word to use? I'm so concerned about our district right now, and I'm concerned that we need someone
Right.
to get the culture back, and I just don't
But
want
the
somebody
problem
that's
with
not
the
here.
facts of the matter is that I'm afraid we're going to get another, just because I mean, I don't know, I don't see what we got, but we get somebody inexperienced again.
That's all, you know, you look out there and that's all that there is, because if they're really experienced, most of them either want to stay where they're at or whatever. So, I haven't looked at either, I have no idea, but it just,
Okay,
there's
well-
so many openings right now.
Again, this is my thoughts, it's not the board's thoughts, but I quote at the bottom here. This is, I spent quite a bit of time on this morning. I said, we'll follow the process and hopefully find a quality can serve as superintendent of public school. If we feel at the end of all this, if no qualified candidate is being out there, then maybe we can look at finding someone as an intern for 1 year. I just think we've gotta keep our eyes open, we gotta keep all our options open, and to hire someone for the sake of hiring isn't the best way to go maybe. So I just think we need to kind of be really diligent about this.
I mean, that part I agree, because we've always said, you don't just hire someone to put a body in the seat, and no matter how much we need one, if they're all gonna be, like she said, if they're all gonna be no experience or have moved around 15 times in the last 15 years, it's like, well, and I have no idea either, you know.
We talked about the length of contract, it would be like 2 years deal again, or
Well, that would be totally up to us.
is that a negotiation?
I would not go, I would not be in favor of that. Unless that's what we need to do to get somebody, but
The longest you would do is 2, because I think it's that after.
Well, it's because at 2 years, you still have a chance to
Right.
break the contract without
Yeah, I
having
think
to go
it's just
through a
like
hearing.
you're certified
If it gets
staff.
3 years, then you have to go through a hearing.
Mhm.
But there were still some hoops that we were gonna have to follow, even at the 2 years.
Right, I think there is,
But
but yeah.
we were able to handle this the best we could. So.
so there's 2 things that we have to look at, and I'm gonna try to pull those up, but there's our requirements for, we have like, don't we have policy, we have requirements for superintendent? Like, I think it's, well, I think it's like 3 years that they've been a principal, or,
Oh, yeah.
I think we have board policy that says that, I'm not
Does
positive.
it just say that, have the principal?
You know, I did, I looked at that not long ago,
That's
and I
fine, that's
thought,
fine now.
and
That's
I
fine
thought, it
Because that's
doesn't
gonna
even come
change- that might
close
change.
to the last couple.
Well, and we could change it,
Yeah,
and then there's also state requirements, and we need to know what those are.
Okay, let's find those, please. We should have them followed before we look at before you guys are looking at the applications.
okay, the policy, I can easily find that, I know where
Because if we're gonna look at
I'm trying to get
applications,
that a little bit.
someone's not meeting these requirements,
I think I can find century code using that as well.
Okay, yeah, because I know I've got the book, I was kind of starting yesterday to, maybe see if I can start putting the UPS guys out here in the lead.
is he coming in?
Well, he was, and then he wasn't quite sure, he kept looking, but he's seen vehicles, he's gonna come in now.
You mean that it's late, they come to my house at 9.
Well, I think it's he's used to nobody being here, so then sometimes he'll try and drop it off at the school, or else he tries the next day.
Okay, so the board, did I cover this pretty well, the superintendent search?
Yeah.
Anything else that I'm missing, or something we can touch bases with all of us?
I think
That was a concern.
When I find that policy tomorrow, I can email it to everybody.
Yeah.
Because I do think there's gonna need to be some tweaks, because I looked at it too and thought, we didn't even follow this the last 2 times. But I think there was some certain number of years, I'll have the luxury of that. I mean, I have no idea, I never looked at it. The only thing I asked is that some of them was on state.
I'm pretty certain that nobody here is qualified.
And, Harvey.
Oh, no,
The only one would have been Dr. Harvey, so.
well, she would have had to either go back to get the superintendent one, but I think
Oh,
it's,
maybe.
it's just a little bit, it's just like, yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Do you want to spend a little time talking about staffing, or?
You can, what was I talking about?
Well, I think we need to, I think we should, well, maybe that's more the principles, and maybe that's more again, a leadership conversation, but we need to have some kind of ideas what kind of, limits we're going to have on the size, or not even necessarily the size of classes, classes, but
Yeah, we can't get into that, because they tried that a couple last negotiation or whatever, and if we do that, it was like then we're tied, because they wanted us to put in that anything over this, that it would be like time and a half, and, you know, I personally just worry about that. I don't want to say that, yes, we could stick 30 in a room without help, but at the same time, I worry that, because that's what their limit last time was gonna be 20. And then it was gonna be paying like time and a half or something, or, you know, give them the 1.5 of their salary or whatever.
but how can we? Yeah.
No, I know, it's hard, I get it, don't want too many, and I know it's a totally different situation, you know, a girl from the teachers in Mandan, and she said, she can't remember last time, she said less than 25 in her room, you know, and I get it, that's different, it's a larger school, there too, they can only have so many teachers, so they were always like, sometimes she had 27, 28, you know, when she was first graders. But I know it's different, we've had the luxury of smaller classes here, but I don't know, just my opinion, it's not anybody else's, so. But not saying you guys can't look at it, but.
Kind of tough to think yourself in the box, sure.
Well, and I get that, but it's also tough to be helter-skelter, willy-nilly.
Well, we'll go further ahead this year too, I mean, parents, I guess, we don't know what, we haven't heard from them, and I don't know, you know, I told them that once we accepted that petition last week, they have 30 days to let us know, and I know they had indicated that they're gonna wanna wait till May, until the funding bills are passed, but they haven't said anything yet, I mean, they have to let us know, I mean, it's only been a week, but they have to let us know if they truly are going to wait, otherwise it has to start within 30 days from Wednesday, so.
But I mean, we already know that we need some
Yes, yeah,
staff, and we already know that we have just a mess. Yeah, I don't know the way to go about it, but I hope it's done better than last year.
I would hope that that would be something, because I think even the policy or the handbook, I know states that it's the principal, and then it says in conjunction with the superintendent or whatever, you know, to figure out like how many you need and where they're gonna be and, you know, the classrooms or whatever or something, so. I know it's hard now with having, you know, a sub in there, but I would, guess all we can do is maybe ask her and the new one coming in, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. And it's hard this year now because we don't have, you know, a full-time principal down there, so.
Well, and we can't, you know, we have to figure out how to deal with that though, because we can't wait until August 1st.
No, I'm just saying it's gonna be hard because of that, but that's, yeah, you know.
And I don't know when Mr. Everett plans to get here or how, or. if he's
His
gonna-
conversation was with me, he would be here June 1st to start, I think, so, not that he was gonna be on sorry, but he wants to be here June 1st to start. Getting to know people, getting to know the situation, and being visible. So.
Did
so
he say
will be-
if he was gonna have any time to, like, if it has a day off, would he be willing to come?
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that he told me, he's got a home in that. And so, he plans to, be here for, as soon as his salary, his contract is done, and start.
Is he living now?
I'm not sure.
No, you
about
told
that.
me, I wasn't.
He's always had this home in that, so I don't know if he's gonna have one here or not too, but,
Okay.
It's not even from that.
yeah,
Or maybe his family or something, I don't know.
that I can't tell you. Those are things we can't ask, remember? So,
We can't pursue that.
yeah, I think you,
I know, I was trying to find that, because I remember Alexis Baxter gave us a very specific list of things you cannot ask in an interview. I haven't been able to find that yet.
I
was
remember
looking.
I have a folder, I'm pretty sure I know where it is, I'll have to see.
See if you could find that, because that was one thing that we would need to make sure gets passed out to our people that we pick from the public, because it happened that time, one of the public people asked a question that they can't. And luckily Kenny and Louisa caught it and said, nope, sorry, stop, you can't ask that question, you know, and whatever, so if we can find, I'll keep looking too, and if you would look, I knew we had it someplace, but I haven't found it yet, so I'll have to go. pull
okay,
it
we got to go
out.
home, because we don't have we're not declaring a consultant, so that means that we have to be more prepared prepared
Well,
ourselves.
and I did call school board association and asked, and,
Yep.
and the gal who answered said she thought she could help us, but unfortunately, the lawyer that works, she was busy at the legislature, so I'll keep trying, I'll try again tomorrow.
Okay.
And keep trying to see what, I thought maybe probably have a list, but that's what we got from that time. They were the ones that gave us a list of questions not to ask, so.
I also think it's not a dumb idea to get in a vehicle, and this is a ways down the road, but go to whatever town they're from. Go to the cafe and ask questions or whatever, because
What's that?
You paying for their flight? They gonna fly here for this interview?
Yeah, could he at least say, like, where are they, I mean, we can't say names, but can we say, like, what states? or-
Yeah, that's, what do you guys think of that?
So, what do you think? Because, I mean, they're gonna, like, for me, I didn't wanna waste, it costed me $800 to come here and interview. That's a lot of money, so, you know, I mean, I didn't wanna waste $800 if I was gonna at least have a good shot, or,
Right.
I just didn't wanna spend all that money anyway for no reason, so they might wanna get paid, because I have
I was
some
gonna say,
sort of spirit.
did we pay for it all, or did we do a chunk of it? What did we do?
I thought we got a pretty good deal. I don't remember us getting $800.
No, you didn't, you paid me half of the flight.
Half of the
Half of the
flight.
flight.
I thought we did
Which
a
is,
chunk.
it's a lot better than nothing. and it got-
Well, I like his idea, how about one of us go, can we ask where they're from, let's see, or not? Are they all from North Dakota, or can we not at least?
I don't see one.
I think you can tell them where they're from.
Okay.
I mean, just don't say it's
Yeah,
school,
go ahead.
I mean.
I have not looked at it. Nobody's looked at it.
5 are from North Dakota, 1's from Louisiana, 1's from Texas.
Oh, I wanna go to Texas. I have no idea where it is, it would be nice if it was close to San Antonio.
I don't know, I'm just saying, at least
No,
think
I
about doing half of their flight, because it's just, it's
I
ridiculous.
guess to me is that
We'd be
we
staying.
take it, we interview this, and one of those is top of our rank, and we
We
look
can
at
talk about it.
then I guess we look at it.
I mean, if you pay half,
What do we look at?
I could be like, yeah, they pay half of mine.
Agree?
So it's consistent.
Great. Okay,
Yeah, we
So let's
can look
do
at
that.
it then, yeah.
let's rank them, and then
Yeah,
if it's someone that we think is worth our time, then we'll vote on whether or not to rank them. We'll vote on, nothing
I
more,
just thought about
we'll
that,
vote on.
because I went through the same thing. It's like,
Yeah, it's a good point, thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Well, I like consistency, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Are we good?
I'm good.
No water.
So am I.
Actually, I got one other.
Sure.
And obviously we can't make any decisions, but Brooke Kyle's position, I really think we as a board should talk about that. She doesn't want to have to travel around, and she doesn't want to teach. But I think we could keep her quite busy between, she said, things like being the instructional, what's called instructional coach, doing her halftime or whatever it is, counselor. What were the other things that she listed?
Okay, but first of all, I guess I'm not trying to be mean, please don't take it this way. It's something that should be discussed with the principal and then the superintendent before we get into this. I mean, I'm just trying to stay consistent with following your steps or whatever, and, not saying that we can't look at it then, maybe that could be a leadership thing or something, or whether.
Well, that's, yeah.
I mean, because I don't like when, they're not supposed to come to us first, that's all I'm saying. And maybe she hasn't, I'm not saying she did, please don't think that either. I'm just saying, I think it should start from,
Well, and she did start that way, but
yeah,
that's why she.
I know, but,
There's no president right now either, so I understand. It's definitely something we need to look into and keep in
then
mind.
I would make another teaching spot.
Well, not really, if she's just doing, another.
No,
teacher's
I mean,
spot.
because she's,
I have, yes,
yeah,
yes, that's correct.
so that's the hard part there too, so.
Yeah, I think we should, she's already been offered a position elsewhere. I'm afraid we're gonna, Dean of Students was one, which to me would be
Surprisingly.
She wants that?
Yes.
Oh.
And she's suggesting a variety of things that would work so that it's not creating a position for her, it's her taking over these other positions so that she's not teaching and she's not traipsing the country. She wants us to look at options.
Okay, we definitely will. Again, those decisions we can't always make as a board, but we will.
Right.
We have input. Okay, all right, anything else? You could get home 10% for now? You have your own separate, you get a steak now. All right, I will, well, yeah, we don't need a motion to adjourn, because this one's not actually meeting, so I'm just gonna say this before we are dismissed, adjourned.
I was gonna make a joke, but then I remembered we were on camera, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that. If my wife would have saw it, she would have laughed though.
I don't want to do it on text either, now they get work plans on texting.
I was gonna say, when you said that, I was gonna say that. Yeah, Superintendent on the table.
It won't be for me, I'll make my own. I told her to just do your own.
Yeah, I'm sure she's got the kids handled.
And that stakes in the